Hey guys, we get to another episode of When the Scriptures Become Real. It's again a podcast where we learn, where we study, where we grow, where we try to become the best versions of ourselves as we can as we continue to serve our Lord. Again, you guys find the podcast on YouTube or anywhere else you get your podcast. We're so thankful that you guys are here, that you guys have found us, and that you guys are with us today. All right, guys, so I owe you an apology for last week. The audio was not the greatest. You can still hear it, but audio was not the greatest. I was so excited to record it, and I was so excited when I got done that I forgot to plug in things that needed to be plugged in, and I kind of did a double take. And I'm just like, man, why would I do that? So thank you for your patience with me, but your guys' feedback on it was still incredible. We still got the point across, so I'm just thankful for you guys and what you guys do for the podcast. So here's a topic that I believe as we study this, and here's what's so beautiful about the Bible, guys, is when you look at the Bible's truths get deeper and deeper and deeper the more you look at it. And this is the case for what we're going to study today. I'm telling you, this is definitely another case of that. So this is something that obviously I believe that can help us. I think it'll challenge you, but I also believe that it will help you grow and encourage you to such a level as well. So that's the goal of what we want to do, okay? So if you're in the gym, if you're walking, if you're in the car, if you're in a group study, as we kind of get our Bibles ready to go and ready to study, here's where we want to start our conversation. Have you guys ever asked yourself the question, where's all this going? Right? Well, where am I going? What's the purpose of all this? Where's all this leading to? Now, I've had that conversation with people face to face, but also you hear people talk through it on social media, right? You can see it. And it comes in different forms and it comes in different ways and it comes in all different types of lifestyles, right? So you have so much that is presented that everything is amazing right now. You know, like my outward beauty is amazing. Then I can start to make money because I look this way and I can do this and I can get that and I can go here and everything is just so great. But then when you look on someone's profile or videos or whatever the case might be, it's like 98% is how awesome everything is. But then there's those 2 or 3 videos, right? After maybe every 15 good ones, there's 2 or 3 where it's kind of like a breakdown in the car, or I don't understand, or just anger, right? So now that tells me that's actually the real person. So now on the one side, whether you've listened to the podcast for a while, which we're grateful, or whether you're just now finding it, which we're glad that you're here, you might be in a position in your life where you're thinking, I've got things. I have the ability to basically do what I want. I've got a certain level of freedom. I've got all this. I got this. I could get this. I have that. But where's all this going though? It's almost like there's no purpose. Where is all this leading to? But then you might be on the other side of the spectrum where you're looking at people who have all this stuff, and little do you know, they're questioning all this too, but all you see is everything that they're doing. But then you're trying to get where they are. Man, if I just had more money, if I just had this aesthetically, if I could just go here and if I could just obtain this or get to this status or do that or do this, I would understand at that point where my life would be leading me. I feel like I would have purpose if said person, place, or thing was in my life. I would therefore have purpose now. So it's almost like on each side of the coin, somebody's always chasing something. Whether you have everything, in some way, you have everything, but you're still chasing something. You're trying to find yourself. You're trying to find a purpose. But then when you don't have anything, then you're trying to have what those people who are lost, you're trying to have what they have. So now everybody in different ways and different lifestyles are asking themselves the same question. Where is this going? Where am I going? Where is all of this stuff leading to? Right. And so that's our title for our podcast today is where am I leading? Where am I being led to? Okay. Where am I being led to? And what we're going to do, guys, I'm telling you, this is whether you know the Bible, you study the Bible, or whether this is kind of your first time getting into Bible stuff, I guarantee that you've heard of Psalm 23. I guarantee you have, right? That is one of the most popular Psalms to ever be penned by David. I mean, you hear it all the time. You hear it, in churches, you hear it in music, you hear it in movies, right? During funerals. Psalm 23 is everywhere, right? And so what we want to do, we want to really dive in and we want to really hone in on Psalm 23, specifically the first part. And as we study this, maybe we can challenge ourselves if we're in spots where we're wondering, where am I going? Or where's all of this leading to? Maybe we can start to understand where we want to go and where God wants to go with us. Okay. So let's turn our Bibles to Psalm 23 and let's study this together. Now, I will say, if you're in the car, if you're walking, definitely go back and look at this because there's things you're going to want to circle and there's things that you're going to want to highlight as we study this because this may be a different look than you've ever seen Psalm 23. Okay, I know it was for me. I know, and I've preached this and taught this, I don't know how many times, right? I've looked at reference books, right? A good one is A Shepherd Looks at Psalm 23. You look at all these things, you're like, man, that's gotta be it. But you look and the deeper that it gets, the more bright the truth becomes. Okay. So if you're taking notes, or if you're in a group study, get your pen, get your highlights out because you're going to have to connect a few dots here. Now, before we dive into Psalm 23, we have to understand what language this is being written in. So this is Hebrew poetry. Okay. So when you think about poetry, as Americans, our minds go to American poetry. Now, the thing about American poetry is our poetry is based on a couple things. It's based on rhythm, it's based on rhyme, and it's based on timing. Rhythm, rhyme, and timing. So, for example, you remember those Valentine's Day cards that you would give away at school? And it was like this short rhyme, but there was a certain rhythm to it, there was a certain imagery to it, and there was a certain timing to it. So, for example, roses are red, violets are blue, sugar is sweet, so are you. So you see the imagery there. So it's almost like you can kind of count the rhythm, right? Roses are red, violets are blue, sugar is sweet, so are you. So now I could say that and you could hear the rhythm and the timing, but I could add music to it. I could add a beat to that, and guess what? It'll still make sense. So that's how our American poetry works. Hebrew poetry is different. Hebrew poetry, it's not about rhythm and timing and imagery like us. The imagery, it's more complex with Hebrew poetry. But Hebrew poetry is more about thinking. It's more about contemplation. It's more about comparing and contrasting an idea. And it's almost like the image of Hebrew poetry is like this. You ever see a picture of a diamond? And there's so many different facets of a diamond. So when you look at a diamond, it's different from every facet that you look at it. So the longer that you look at a diamond, each facet, each part, each cut, it's not the same. So the more that you look at it, the more you contemplate it, the more you watch it, the more you look at it, the more beautiful it becomes. That's Hebrew poetry. So this is why when we study the Psalms or when we study Hebrew poetry, more so in the Old Testament, it's not meant for us to just read it and say, okay, I got it. Or to read it 5 times and say, I got it. Or to preach it 1,000 times and say, I got it. We cannot have a pride level when we study Hebrew poetry because we're going to miss it because the goal of it is to look at it and meditate it. And it never stops becoming beautiful like that diamond, right? It never stops. That's Hebrew poetry. Okay. Makes sense so far? Okay. Now, as we dive into this, this is also a song as well. Now, our songs, right, is based on stanzas and chorus. So it's like a song in a songbook, or maybe even just a regular song you hear on the radio. There's like, okay, here's verse 1, then the chorus. Here's the second verse, then the chorus. Here's a third verse, and then the chorus, and then maybe it ends with the chorus, right? Hebrew poetry, the chorus is the main thought. So anything that's said before or after the chorus, it always has to connect with it. So the chorus basically comes first in Hebrew music. Okay, so now what's our chorus of Psalm 23? The chorus, if you look at your Bible, you need to circle or highlight this phrase. It's insane. Okay, so go down to verse 4. Okay, so yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil. Now watch this. For you are with me. Circle, highlight, bleed your Bible, right? Circle or highlight that phrase, for you are with me. That is our chorus. That's our chorus. Okay. So now, as we study this, everything before, for thou art with me, is David's life as a sheep, not a shepherd. David's life as a sheep. Everything from basically verse 1 to 4, before you see our chorus, for you are with me, that's David's life as a sheep. Now, what are we talking about? God, where am I going? Where are you leading me? I might have everything in my life and I may have doors and opportunity always given my way, but I'm still lost. Where am I going? I may have nothing and I'm trying to get to a certain point. I'm trying to have certain things and I'm trying to understand, but I don't know where I'm going. Where am I going? That's the beginning of Psalm 23. Okay. You see where we're going. You see where we're going. So that's the beginning. Okay. So now let's look at this. Let's look at this. So verse 1, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. He makes me lie down in green pastures. He leads me beside the still waters. He restores my soul. He leads me in paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. Now, David's life as a sheep. Now, at this time, remember we see this in the Old Testament, 1st and 2nd Samuel. Remember David as a young boy. Remember he is a shepherd, but he's not identifying as a shepherd here. He's identifying as a sheep, even though he is a physical shepherd. So here's how we know this helps. Because everything David is saying, he's saying from a sheep's perspective. Why? Because who watches sheep all day? Young David. So this is not David talking as, I'm a shepherd, so therefore I understand God. In some ways, yes. But the main crux of what David is saying is, I am a sheep and the Lord is my shepherd. All right. So now watch this. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Now think about this. Where am I going? Where is all this leading? I have no idea what I'm supposed to be doing right now. I may understand some things here and there, but I don't know where this is going. I don't know. I don't even know my future. What am I supposed to be doing right now? The Lord is my shepherd. So now think about this. This is a phrase of admiration. It's almost like in the Psalm, when you say this or sing this, you're supposed to say it really loud. For sake of the mic, I'm not going to yell into the mic like the Hebrew language requires, but it's almost like you yell this, right? The Lord is my shepherd. It's almost like it's an admiration that even though I may have things, even though I may have nothing, I am so thankful that he's watching over me. It's like a sign of admiration. You ever see those videos where it's a father and a daughter and the mother and the father are holding hands and the daughter comes by and kind of takes the mom hands and say, "Oh no, that's my dad." No, I don't want you to hold his hand. That's my dad. Right? You ever see videos like that? So what is that showing? That the child understands that the father and the mother watch over. But the relationship between a daughter and a father, their bond is so special. Just like a mother and a son, right? The bond is so special that there's a level of admiration. I'm glad you look at me. The way that you look at me, the way that you hold me, the way that you watch me and take care of me and do all these things and say that you love me, it's an admiration. So David is saying, as I am a sheep, And as you're leading me where you want me to go, I may not have the answers, but I am thankful that you're watching me. See, that's the beginning of understanding where God is leading you. We're so focused, we're so focused on a destination, right? I got to get to a certain spot. I have to get to a certain degree. I have to get to a certain state or a certain level in life. So once I get to that place, maybe I'll understand. Isn't it very interesting that we're all kind of looking for that place in life or that status in life? But when we say, when I get there, it's almost like we say, well, maybe things will make sense or things will make better sense than what it does now. We're not even thinking about the potential problems that those brings, that those situations and states bring. We're not even thinking about the potential ups and downs that new places bring and new people bring. Like we're not thinking of that. So we just want to get out of where we are now. And so sometimes we're so desperate to get out of where the Lord has you now that we go to different places just to get a change of scenery. Well, I just got to go somewhere else. I just need a new person. I just need a new place. So the thing about choice is that the Lord will let us choose to do those things. He'll let us choose to do those things. But just because you choose to go somewhere, or just because you choose a new place, or just because you choose new people, doesn't necessarily mean God led you there. Sometimes that's our own impatience because we just want something different. We just feel like if we had something different, maybe things would be better. And so because I love you guys and I want to see you guys succeed, all of you guys, I want to see all of you succeed. Don't make choices and don't make decisions and don't bring other people into your life just so you can have a change. When you think about it, it's a very selfish way to live. And that's a way that we don't want to live that way. And we don't want to hurt other people, then we don't want to hurt other, but we want to be careful. Okay? So now notice what David is saying. As I don't understand as a sheep, I'm just thankful. The first thing that I should be thankful for is that the Lord is watching. When we ask the question, maybe not we, but I can only speak for myself. When I ask the question, where's all this leading? It's almost like you look at your life as a story, right? So it's like, man, I understand this happened, right? Ups, downs, all this stuff, but where's it going? Right? Where is this? Where's the crescendo of this, right? Where's all this leading to? And sometimes when you ask yourself that question, sometimes there's this almost like this silence where it's like, is God leading you somewhere? Or is he just letting these random events, whether good or bad, just randomly happen? But sometimes it's like, man, I feel like I'm not being led. I just feel like just random things are happening. And I just don't feel like there's a path. Does that make sense? Maybe you understand that too. So now notice David is saying when I'm in that position as a sheep of God, number one, I must be thankful that he watches over me. I have to understand that. So in order to understand where God is leading us, we have to get the point and understand and have the admiration that the Lord is my shepherd. He watches. Now here's why this is so important. A shepherd at all times, whether at night or whether during the day, a shepherd is always visible to the sheep at all times. At all times. So now think about what David is saying. As a shepherd, he understands that. As a sheep, he understands that if I'm following God, if I'm trying to understand where God wants me to go, I know that his eye is over everything. And sometimes, guys, it seems like we're so small in the grand scheme of things. And we are. And I think it's very good to see ourselves in a humble manner. But sometimes in the grand scheme of things in life, you feel like you're kind of just this little cog. And whether you were here or whether you're not here, things are going to move on. The world is not going to stop. So it just feels like, man, what am I doing? How would God look at me as just this little piece of nothing Why would God be so concerned with me when there's so many other people with so many other bigger problems than me? There's so many other people that need God more than me. There's so many other situations that are so much bigger than mine. Why would God give me the care and the concern that I feel he needs to give other people? Why would he look at me like that? Because he is the good shepherd. Sometimes in our human perspective, when you lead a group of people, right, whether it's at work or church or whatever the case might be, or even a sports team, when you lead a certain amount of people, sometimes it's very easy for people to get lost in the cracks. And that's just our human weakness. We're not God. We can't be everywhere at all times, and we don't know the heart, and we don't know. So sometimes people get lost in the cracks, and it's hard. And even if you try to really, really involve everybody as much as possible, sometimes even good leaders are accused of you don't care, because the difficulty of shepherding is that difficult. It's that hard. And so sometimes we view God that way. God, there's so many people. Why would you see me? Why would you see what I'm going through? Why would you care to that level? Because he's the good shepherd, and David gets it. The Lord is mine. Notice how he makes that personal. There's so many people on the planet, but he belongs to me. The Lord is my shepherd. He watches my every step. He sees my every tear. He knows my every hurt. He understands every time I failed. He understood when I made the wrong choices. He understood as I walk with him. He understands the nature of following me is difficult, but he sees everything. That's what we must understand. The Lord is my shepherd. Now, as we continue, let's keep reading. Let's keep breaking this down. The Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Now, here's what's cool about this too. Remember, as you're asking yourself the question, right, in life, whether you have everything or whether you don't have everything, what's the common denominator between those two people? I'm missing something. I'm missing something. If I don't have anything, I'm missing finance in my life. I'm missing happiness. I'm missing joy. I'm missing self this and self that and self this and self that. I'm missing all this. But then if I have everything, I'm missing something. I'm missing simplicity. I'm missing being normal. I'm missing this. I'm missing that. So it doesn't matter what state you're in. Everybody feels like they're missing something. I'm missing something. So notice what David's saying. As a sheep, the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. What does that mean in Hebrew? I shall not want means I will never be wanting. Meaning the shepherd is always going to give me exactly what I need. So now there's this level of, it's almost like there's this level of contentment with the shepherd, because the shepherd understands. But how am I going to trust my shepherd though? So if I'm asking the question, where is he leading me? How in the world am I going to trust him, right, if I don't trust that he's watching over me? So look at how the psalm is compounding itself. So if I'm asking the question, where is God leading me? Where is all of this in my life? Where's all this going? If I'm asking myself that question, then notice I can't get that answer unless I know that the Lord is my shepherd. Then after I know that the Lord is my shepherd, then I begin to understand as a sheep, I will never be in want. Why? Because he looks at me. He looks at me. He understands. He watches. He's seen everything. Everything that's ever happened. He sees past, present, future. So now notice the psalm compounds on itself. Okay. So now the Lord is my shepherd. I shall not want. Verse 2 is insane. Okay. Watch as we study this. This is why we have to look at Hebrew poetry like this diamond. It's supposed to be contemplated. It's supposed to be looked at, and you look at every single facet, and it's different and it's beautiful every time. And the truth and the golden nuggets of the scripture gets deeper and deeper. It doesn't change, it doesn't stretch. We don't add to it, we don't take it away. The beauty of the truth deepens. It becomes clearer and clearer and clearer. Now, watch verse 3. He makes me lie down in green pastures, and he leads me beside the still waters. Now, if you just look at that and read that face value, when you, in your mind's eye, when you picture green pastures, what's the first thing you picture? I mean, I've seen pictures on Google. I've seen literal shepherds in America and New Zealand and other places where, they have sheep everywhere and the grass is completely lush. It's the grass is almost like a different type of green, right? That's absolutely beautiful. And you've seen pictures of brooks and still waters and all these beautiful things. But think about it. Psalm 23, who is the author of this? David. So we cannot look at Psalm 23 from an American shepherd's land. We also can't look at Psalm 23 as a shepherd from New Zealand or here or there. We have to look at where the location, where is this being written? So this is Middle Eastern land. So now green grass is not lush green grass how you would picture. Here's what green pastures means. It almost looks like, have you ever seen pictures of like Bible lands? And they say, well, this is potentially where Jesus walked when he was tempted of the devil. And you just see it almost looks like a desert. And it's rocks everywhere, and it's kind of hilly, and it doesn't really look very lush at all. It looks very dry. And every once in a while, between the rocks, there's little pieces of grass everywhere. That's green pastures. What in the world? What are you talking about? That's green pastures. That's not the oasis I thought it would be. That's not the grass is greener. That's not what I thought it would be. You see, you ever seen gravel and on these hard rocks? And maybe you have this leading up to your house, right? We have this on our campground, but when you go, you ever seen those rocks, right? Or gravel, whatever the case might be. And then you see little patches, little blades of grass coming out of those rocks. That's what green pastures was. But in our eyes, from America, what do we think? That's dry. That's desert. There's no way that's green pastures. David says this is green because who is the shepherd himself? David understands it. So now here's how we know that green pastures and still waters does not mean abundance. This is how we know this. Here's what a shepherd would do, especially Middle Eastern shepherds at this time. As a shepherd is leading his sheep in this dry, hilly, rocky area where small blades of grass, little patches of grass are everywhere in this vast, vast area, a shepherd would do this. He would take his staff, and as the sheep are following, he would have a potential count in his head. So as he's walking, he would do something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There's a patch of grass here. Then he'd take the sheep another 6 or 8 steps. There's more patches here. So now he goes around and he leads the sheep to this grass. So now, what if the grass was completely lush? Grass everywhere. If grass is everywhere, why in the world do I need a shepherd? Note, what did he say? He makes me lie down in green pastures and leads me beside the still waters. So if I have everything in abundance, why in the world do I need a shepherd to lead me? I don't. So now what's the imagery of Psalm 23? David is not comparing green pastures and still waters to abundance. He's comparing green pastures and still waters to the only person that knows where this is the shepherd. So now do you see the trust and the faith that it takes to say what he said? Because he understands in this dry land, which I as a shepherd consider green pastures, the sheep don't consider it that. So when they follow me, they follow my cadence around the land. And as they follow my cadence, they get these little pieces of grass. I don't give them too much. I don't give them too little. I give them exactly what they need. And then guess what? If they want more, then they follow me again. Isn't that beautiful the more you look at that? Now, what about this? He leads me beside the still waters. So if this desert, hilly, rocky land with these blades of grass coming up on the rocks, if this is the green pastures that you're saying it is, well, how in the world, why would he bring up still waters? Is that a metaphor? Is that this? Is it that? Is it literal? Is it figurative? No, it's literal. Here's what would happen. You ever seen that gravel and maybe it rains, or maybe the dew from the wind, or maybe condensation from the wind, or maybe because of the dew that comes up from the ground, when you pick up a rock, and it doesn't have to be a lush area. When you pick up a rock and it's kind of wet at the bottom and it's wet around those rocks, guess what that is? Those are the still waters. And guess what the sheep would do in those Middle Eastern areas? They'd lick the waters off of the rocks that's around the blades of grass. Why? Well, Jordan, that's absolutely far-fetched. Is it though? Is it far-fetched? Because isn't this the same thing that God did with the children of Israel? Did he not lead them the exact same way? Did he not say, with the manna and with the quail, especially with the manna, don't take too much? Don't take too much, because if you take too much, what'll happen to it? It'll rot. That doesn't seem too far-fetched, does it? So why didn't God just give them an abundance of manna and just take all that you could take all the water you could take all the manna you could take all the quail that you could take, and therefore you could say, I gave you everything? Why didn't God do that with the children of Israel? Because what was he doing through Moses? Leading them like a shepherd. So when they needed water, did they have access to water at all times? Moses had to hit the rock. When they needed manna, did they have access to manna at all times? They had to wait till the next morning and be satisfied with what God gave them that day. When God rained down quail, did God give them an abundance of quail? They had to wait till God led them to more. So this is not far-fetched at all. It's actually more concise to how God leads. You see, we get it twisted to where if we read Psalm 23 face value, well, I don't understand where I'm at because God's not, where I'm at right now, this is not green pastures. These aren't still waters. This isn't lush. This isn't all this. This isn't that, because that's not what God is leading. So now, without a shepherd, if I had everything, I don't need a shepherd to lead me. So guess what? From day to day to day, I trust where God is leading me. I trust who God is leading me to. I trust the place that God is leading me, whether I'm there or I'm not there yet. And Jesus even alluded to this way of leading and shepherding in his prayer. Give us this day our daily bread. What type of language is that? It's shepherding language. You see how it paints itself that beautiful as we're walking through this? Now let's keep going. Verse 3. He restores my soul. He leads me. Notice that's the second time the word leads has popped up, isn't it? And what's our question? Where is God leading me? I think at times, guys, myself included, I think we become so prideful and we make choices and we're playing Russian roulette. So if I make a choice with a person, if I make a choice with a place, It's a 50-50 shot. If it goes well, guess what I could say? It was God. If it goes wrong, then guess what I'll say? Where was God at? So we're playing games with our life, guys. And I don't want to say this because I love you guys. I don't want you guys to play games with your life. Trust your shepherd. Don't make choices and then, well, I'll just live with it. Life is not a game. And like we always say, we could play, but you have to pay to play. So guys, just don't play the game. And I know people will say, well, yeah, life is a game. You got to do this and you got to do that. And you got to, okay. But notice it's a different way to live. It's a different way to live when you trust that God is leading you somewhere. And I'm going to be real with you guys. I'm going to be honest. It feels like when you trust that God is leading you to a place, when you trust that God is leading you in this life, when you trust that God is leading you to a person, the discipline of a sheep is learning how to follow. And sometimes you feel kind of insane because it's like, well, I'm not making moves. It's not like you sit on your hands and feet, right? So let's not be children and let's not be unbalanced in what I'm saying. So it's not like you don't study. It's not like you don't help people. It's not like you don't live the Christian life the right way. It's not like you don't evangelize and you don't pray for people and you don't help people. You work, right? You work for the Lord. So that's how you move. But I think sometimes we've equated in our minds, I'm putting up air quotes, making a move is basically you making all the choices. And if it works, it was God. Then if it doesn't work, it wasn't God. See, making a move as a sheep is not necessarily making those type of choices. Making a move as a sheep is while he's leading me today, I'm thankful for the little blades of grass God gave Jordan Anthony Pugh today. I'm thankful for the water he gave me today. Is it where I might want to be financially? Maybe not. Is it where I may want to be relationally? Maybe not. Is it where I might want to be spiritually? Maybe not. But I'm thankful he took me here today. So instead of trying to make moves and contemplate things and talk to other Christians and ask them what I need to be doing, today I will take what God gave me and today I will work for him. So now these days compound on each other. So guess what? Lord willing, today, I'm thankful for the blades of grass. I'm thankful for the water, and I work for him today. I help somebody. I pray for someone. I encourage someone. I work for him. I do this. I do that. Guess what that is? That's following his lead. So in that situation, who's making the choices? Not me. I have to trust that even though in my human years, where is this going? He's leading me somewhere. He's leading me someplace. He's leading me to someone. So now guess what I must do? Instead of trying to force his hand, instead of trying to force other things to happen, you trust his lead. And that's a discipline. Because sometimes you get antsy, and I get antsy, but you trust his lead. So watch, when you do this, what did he say in verse 3? When I walk this way, when I'm asking the question, where are you leading me? What does God do? He restores my soul. I got it, Jordan. Do you trust me? God, you're kind of taking, and you're kind of taking too long. You know, am I forgotten? What? Trust me. You trust me tomorrow. You trust me tomorrow. You do your work. You keep serving me. You keep helping other people. You keep learning more about my heart. That is you following. Make the right choice. You see, and sometimes it makes you feel like, man, what am I even doing? What am I doing? I'm not going anywhere. What am I doing? And you're going to question yourself. And when you question yourself, that's when you start trying to go a little bit farther than where the shepherd's going. But guys, as we ask this question, where am I going? Where is this? Where is all of this leading? Just follow. It's a discipline. Just follow. Just follow. Now watch. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake. Circle or highlight in the paths of righteousness. Okay, circle or highlight that. Also, I know you did this before, but just to go back, circle or highlight green pastures and still waters too. Okay, now if the picture of the land is not what we always thought it was, where in the world is the path of righteousness? Where in the world is the green pastures? Where in the world is the still waters? And then in verse 4, yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, where in the world is that? You see, when you read the Bible on surface level, notice what you do. Green pastures, still waters equals abundance. Therefore, green pastures and still waters must mean I'm on the mountain in life. So God has led me to all of these great things and opportunities and la. So that's the mountain. But then all these bad problems and all this. So now I'm on the mountain and then I go down to the valley. So now notice, what do? We paint pictures as if God is the paths of righteousness, the green pastures, and the valley is two separate places. It's not contextually. Contextually, that vast land, it is green waters, or it is green pastures. That vast rocky land is still waters. It's also the path of righteousness, and it's also the valley of the shadow of death. God is not taking us here. It's one place. And sometimes it's a little hilly. Sometimes we fall. But guess what? There's green pastures everywhere. There's still waters everywhere. There's valley dips. But all of it is the path of righteousness. It's all one vast place. And the shepherd is just leading us where he wants us to go. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death. Now, David understands this as a shepherd. And here's the beautiful application. As a sheep, sometimes a sheep will make choices, right? As they're being led, a sheep will make choices. And as they make choices, the sheep will fall. It's on me. This is my fault. I chose to go here. I chose this. I chose that. So therefore I fell. So now when that happens as a sheep through the valley of the shadow of death, if we're connecting the psalm, who is still my shepherd? The Lord watches over. But what happens when I didn't do anything wrong, like Job? What happens just because of the nature of following the shepherd? Life is just hard. It's not because of your decisions. It's not because of who you are. It's not because you did something wrong. It's not because you're a bad person. Hard things just happen. Hard times just happen. Heartbreak just happened. It's not your fault. So now in that sense, as a sheep, then what's my conclusion? The Lord is my shepherd. So the valley of the shadow of death, it could be our own fault, or it could be just because the nature of following the shepherd is difficult. Either way, who sees me? He does. Doesn't that connect beautifully to John 10 now? The sheep hear my voice. Why? Because they know whether it was their fault or whether they fell because of the difficulty of following me, that I see it and I watch them and I love my sheep. Now, how do we know that this is the right way that David is being led? Because watch what he says. What's our chorus? Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. See, on those days, guys, where you're asking yourself the question, where's all this going? I don't even understand where I'm going. I just feel like it's almost kind of like, I don't want to say it's repeat, but it's like, this is not going anywhere. Learn the discipline of following your shepherd. Sometimes you're going to make choices and we have to take account. Yeah, this was on me. I fell. But the Lord is still my shepherd when it's my fault. I will not be in want, even though it's my fault. He leads me beside the still waters. He makes me lie down in green pastures when it's my fault. He restores my soul. He leads me in the paths of righteousness for his name's sake when nobody else fell, when the responsibility was on me. I fell. But even though it's on me and I fell and I disappointed him, what's David's conclusion? For you are with me. But then when I follow him and I didn't do anything wrong, it's not my fault. I don't understand why all this hurt came. I don't understand why the heartbreak happened. I don't understand why all this circumstances I'm innocent. I didn't do anything wrong. The Lord is my shepherd in that instance. I will never be in want. He leads me beside the still waters. He makes me lie down in green pastures, even when it's not my fault, just because of the nature of following him. He restores my soul when I'm put in situations like that. He leads me in paths of righteousness when I was deemed the enemy. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, maybe I'm alone. Maybe I was misjudged. Joseph, Jesus, Job. Yea, though I walk through the valley of the shadow of death, I will fear no evil, for you are with me. So do you see on either side of the coin? And guess what? As sheep, we're going to be on both sides. Sometimes it's our fault. Sometimes it's not our fault. But either way, guess what? We could still scream to the hills. The Lord is my shepherd, and you are with me. You see why we had to study this? And this is only part one. So next week, we're going to do part two. But I mean, it's just a beautiful way to look at the psalm. So I want to encourage you guys as you're asking yourself the question, where's all this going, right? Where is God leading me? When you're asking yourself this question, study this over for yourself. Look at this over for yourself again. Read it over, meditate on this over for yourself again, and understand that in order to begin to understand, where am I going? Where's all this leading? Understand that the Lord is mine. Understand. Once we can get that, then we really begin to understand I'm not the one that's trying to make my life go here or make my life go there. He's leading me somewhere. And I got to trust that. So we're here to help you guys. Please don't do this alone. He allows us to walk with each other. Reach out to us. Send a message. I promise you, you're not the first one. We want to get to know you. It comes to me directly. We could talk. We could pray for you guys. We can do all this stuff. So we love you guys. We appreciate you guys. Share the podcast. We're just so thankful for everything that you guys do. And we can't wait to record part 2 of this next week. So keep reading through Psalm 23 and read through the second half of that chorus. And now we're going to see David in a different part of life. So appreciate you guys. Love you guys. And we will see you guys next week. Thanks, guys.